And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Wooldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel, live for episode number 63. Hope you all are well this evening. Just some final adjustments as I do that. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. My name is Tom Whittle, your host for this evening, and of course, joining me as always is the wonderful Steve Wooldridge. Steve, a very good evening to you on this Sunday. How are you?
Yep, good evening, everyone at home watching. Evening, Tom. Yeah, really good. Thanks. Looking forward to a short week this week, I'm sure. Probably like yourself as well.
Not the only one, honestly.
Yeah.
Nice little bank holiday for the Queen's Jubilee. Lovely job.
Yeah.
Lovely job. How was your weekend?
Yeah, lovely. I had my first ever spotting trip to Bristol yesterday, and there's for people who've never been to Bristol, there's some great views, and you don't have to be there all that long to see everything. There's a decent variation, and yeah, it was nice to go somewhere different and sort of see what other places have to offer. So I definitely recommend a trip to Bristol. I know you've been a few times and you enjoy it, don't you?
Definitely recommend it. Absolutely. It's one of those locations where it's if you're into your scenery and your aircraft, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, yeah, very, very good spot indeed. We'll bring you back shortly.
Yep, nice one.
Also joining us this evening is, of course, I believe he says he missed it last week. I can't remember that far back. It's, of course, Ian Hartley. Ian, a very good evening to you. How are you? And if you did miss last week, because I can't remember, welcome back.
Yeah, I did miss last week. I forgot why I missed it now, but
I'm sure it's not that.
It was your router, weren't it? It was my internet router went last week.
Yes.
Didn't it? So yeah, it was the Rich Goodwin show. So I was it was a shame that we missed that one, but such is life, isn't it? But all's good. We're back up and running this week. So after that, the only thing is, I think I said to you in chats earlier on that I might have to disappear earlier. There's been a massive pollution incident in my local canal where I go fishing. So I think they want us up there to try and bail some fish out. So I'll see how that pans out. But all good.
Fair play. Yeah, fair play. How's your weekend been so far?
Apart from that, absolutely fantastic. I'm going back in work tomorrow, so I've been prepping myself for that. So I've got to go into work tomorrow and finally bite the bullet and get myself back in. So
excellent.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this when Steve was here, but I'll mention it when he's back on screen. But yeah, I'll explain another reason as to why my weekend was wonderful. But I'll bring you back shortly to explain that. So I'll bring you back.
Pregnant.
And joining us also this evening, the reason why we are all here, super excited to welcome him back. He was on the early days of the show, and we did it via voice chat, but now we're here doing it via video call. It's, of course, YouTube's favourite plane spotter. It's Matt Cochran.
Hey! Greetings, Matt. Everybody.
Yes, good afternoon to you, because it's afternoon in your location right now. But thank you for joining us today once again.
My pleasure. I'm doing well here. 5 hours in the past. I guess you guys are 5 hours in the future, so you're time travelers to me.
Time travelers, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But we can't tell you what's happening in the future. We'd ruin that for you.
I hear Jubilee. From what I understand, I just learned what Jubilee is, as a matter of fact. My wife asked me to mention it because she wanted to know if it was a big deal over there. And clearly, since I've already heard you mention it once, celebrating the Royals.
It's that much of a big deal that they've given us 2 days off work. So we've got a 3-day week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, pretty big deal. A lot of people see it as an excuse to go out and drink. So I mean, I'm one of those people, but a lot of people will celebrate the royals and the Queen and everything else, and having street parties as well. So yeah, street parties is a big thing in this country as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's Memorial Day weekend here, which is more of a somber holiday, but still everybody uses it to drink and throw down. We get Monday off, so
easy. It's a good time to have a couple of days off, whether it's for one reason or another. So yeah, not too bad. But yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal in this country. But like I said, thank you for coming back on again. I know you've been very busy with travels and journeys and stuff, which we'll get to at some point this evening. But before we do, we will get everybody back in and everybody in the right order. There we go. So everyone say hello to everybody.
Hi, Steve.
Hi,
Matt.
Hey.
How are we all doing? All right?
I'm all right. Are you all right?
Right.
Yeah, all right.
Right, my Louise.
They've started already. I love it. Just gets me giggling every time. Wonderful. Right, let's get into a little bit of housekeeping before we go into tonight's show. So firstly, we are on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you do wish to follow us on there to keep up to date with what is happening on the show. Also, I believe, are you rocking it today?
Of course.
Yes, indeed. Brilliant. You can buy your limited edition Steve t-shirt, which is available on the store, as well as some other goodies that you can find. You can find that in the description below as well if you wish to support the channel. And if you wish to be a guest on the show, just like Matt Cochran here today, give us a message on any of the social medias and we'll get you on as soon as we can. Also, we have a Facebook group now where you can share your photos and everything else, which you can find by searching for, trying to remember because I did it myself, the Departure Lounge community channel. If you search for that on Facebook, you'll find it and you can join the wonderful people that are already there. Wonderful. So let's get into tonight's stream. But before we do, we'll go into the comments. Ian, if you'd like to read those and say hello to the wonderful people that have joined us.
Yep, let's have a look. So we've got Jack Rolls. He's in the house. He's saying he's very well and he's wishing everyone here a good evening. The British Airways Airbus A380 from Frankfurt is here as well. So good evening to you. Lynn Keeble, good evening to you, Lynn. Let's have a look, see what else have we got in here. Peter, good evening. Transatlantic Allison is in. It was Fleet Week in New York City. Lots of sailors in whites looking hot. I'm sure I read that out exactly the way she said it.
I'm sure you did. Did a good job.
Jim Devil's in the house as well. Good evening to you, Jim. Visions International. Hi, Peter. Yeah, Matthew Harris is in the house as well. Jim Gemmell. Everyone's here, so happy
Everyone's
days.
Here. Fantastic.
There's one more, sorry, who I know is watching but hasn't gone in the chat, and that's a quick hello to Lucy and her little baby Rory. So,
fantastic.
Thanks for joining us.
Well done. Right, so if anybody has any questions for Matt Cochran tonight, we are going to play I've requested some footage, but we're going to play his bloopers at some point as well. They're very funny because I had a quick look at the first one from the beginning of the video to refresh my memory, and it is really funny. I'm not going to ruin it. It's really funny. It's just super funny. But we are going to play some bloopers and go through those as well a little bit later on. But Matt, if you'd like to kind of just introduce yourself to people who don't sort of quite know you in terms of what you do, in terms of your plane spotting, and pretty much where you're from.
I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Born in the suburbs here. I have always been in love with planes. Now Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport. I have to say all those words or Hartsfield PR gets pissed at me. That's my playground. And I don't like the term plane spotting so much. I think that kind of it makes it sound like it's an idle hobby where it's not idle at all. I'm plane chasing. I am chasing stuff down. It seems to me to be a lot more active. It's not just, oh, look, there's an airplane. I spot it right there. It's a little bit more complicated than that when you do it right.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, we'll go straight into recently for anybody that sort of follows you on any of the social medias, which we'll go onto shortly, or maybe a little bit later as well. You've also been in this country, or sorry, the UK.
Yes.
Recently, Scotland, I believe, and of course,
Yes,
you did your
sir.
first bit of plane pointing,
plane chasing,
yeah.
In Scotland. How was that?
That was an absolute blast. Now, I mean, I'm sure for you guys, the stuff is everyday run of the mill, Ryanair, EasyJet, but it was really funny when I first saw like Jet2 and EasyJet and Ryanair. It's like seeing a celebrity almost for me, because I hang out at Hartsfield. I don't know, I've never seen any of that stuff. I hadn't crossed the pond since 1996 when I went to Spain in high school.
Wow.
So the whole thing was a mind blower. I'd been up. I was so excited to go too. I stayed up all night on the flight. I was on a Virgin A330 that was only a third full, and that was like the best flight of my life, really, because it was all night, and they just treated me like royalty, even in coach. And so I get there, and it's funny. I actually had 8 hours between arriving and before we could check into our Airbnb. My wife was on a train coming in from Inverness because she had already been there for a week. So I just went directly from the airplane to the Edinburgh airport where Scotland meets the world, parking deck, and just went to town. And it was a blast. I was in quite a delirious state, which I think made it a lot more fun. Like things like the Aer Lingus ATR 72 is like, oh, this is fantastic. There's not a lot of heavies really going in and out of there, but just the little stuff blew my mind. It was a lot of fun for me because all I see is Delta, it's hometown airline here. And the funny thing was, the first freaking plane I see upon setting up my camera and getting the tripod all set up is a freaking Delta 767. Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
a little bit of home away from home.
Yeah. You say about the EasyJet and that, and you can't, like, obviously we take them for granted. And I imagine if I was in America or whatever, I'd probably get a little bit excited about seeing Southwest for the first time. And it's all relative to what you're seeing regularly, of course.
Exactly. It's all about that diversity that you don't see. And, by the end of the trip, I kind of ignored Ryanair and EasyJet as well, because I went out there. I went the whole spotting trip, I kind of morphed from this parking deck dweller. Then the funny thing, the tower controller, I was just sitting there screwing around during a lull period where there's nothing coming. And how close to this controller can I zoom in? Just like doing my super zoom right on the controller. It wasn't long after that, a Edinburgh airport employee came out and told me not to shoot there and told me where to shoot, which was this mound of dirt out on these event grounds adjacent to, I don't remember what side of the runway it's on, but it was a brilliant spot that I traveled to for basically each of the days that I was there.
Well, it took you a fair while to get around to it as well, didn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. When you're on foot, it's a lot slower. It would take 2 hours to get over there. It was a good 2 mile walk just to get to the spot from the tram station. So I'm huffing it with my tripod and stuff, walking along, I think the M8 or whatever you guys call your main thoroughfare.
Motorways,
yeah.
And there are all these people going in the wrong direction, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. And it was really funny when I was there. One of the biggest mind blowers to me, me and my wife were just walking down the street, and I was getting frustrated because I kept running into people coming the other way. And I mentioned to my wife, I was like, why don't any of these people bear to the right? I have grown up, I've been born and bred when you're the cars are on the right side. You walk on the right side. And she said, why do you think that is? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. They bear left here. Even pedestrian traffic. No wonder I keep running into people.
Yeah. I think I dare say Edinburgh fair use to tourists and the like not to have been too upset by you.
Yeah. It's the folks in Glasgow, the gritty folks who didn't seem to appreciate it much.
Yeah,
it's funny. I'll say it's funny you say that. I'm just gonna, as a little spoiler, I've got the video you've got from Edinburgh, where literally the first plane you see is, of course, something that you're so used to seeing. So I'm just going to play it because your reaction is quite funny, and to see what everyone thinks of it.
Edinburgh Airport, where Scotland meets the world. I'm fresh off a plane, fresh off an overnight flight with some time to kill, and this looks like a 767. Who could this be? Oh, so help me God, if it's Hometown. It is Hometown Airlines. Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of all of the aircraft I didn't want to see here, it is Hometown Airline, but it's a 767-300, probably in from JFK or something.
Yep.
And there it is. Wow.
The level of enthusiasm is like, yeah, wow.
That, and funnily enough, that is the flight that took me home, or took me part of the way home. Well, we had to go through JFK on the way back, and miserable affair. Going home from vacation is always a bummer, and then you're crammed in the back of a chock full 763. It's awful.
Yeah, and the irony is probably your average Edinburgh spotter is probably absolutely delighted to see the It's probably like the highlight of the trip. That and the Qatar 7-8 is probably like, wow, this is the best thing ever.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's just funny how we live in these different worlds where it's just like a bizarro world. What is new to me is old to you, and it would be vice versa. You'd probably go crazy over just a standard Delta 737 if you were here. And I think that's what makes it more fun. That's part of this hobby, it's almost like alien to see that kind of stuff when you're so accustomed to just the American traffic.
Yeah, I think I rather unkindly call Ryanair's the pigeons of the sky, because you see so many of them that you don't really pay attention to anymore. So
I think you go a lot worse than that, from what I've seen on Instagram, where you say if Monday was an airline.
Yeah, it would be Ryanair.
Yeah. I don't know if we have an equivalent to Ryanair here in the States, because that's like Ryanair is just like ridiculously cheap fares, right? Like 15 pounds, something like that. And you could go from point A to point B, but you just get hassled the whole time.
Well, it's point A to point B, point 1. It's usually you're like, we'll get you to Milan, but you're actually 150 miles away from Milan. That's their sort of business model in an old military airfield somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Lovely. So I sort of celebrated, and I completely forgot I was on camera. But yeah, that's fine. What I want to kind of sort of talk about, I know we spoke about it on the episode that you were on way back in the infancy of the show. It's sort of your presenting style of, like plane chasing. Talk to us about how, what did it just happen? Like, did you sort of film and think, I'm just going to talk over it and see what happens? Or was it a case of you actually thought, I'll try and go down a different route to what many people do, rather than just like a point and shoot? It's like point, shoot, commentary.
That was totally unintentional. Basically, it's just like my internal dialogue that naturally kind of flows into my brain while I'm out there. And at the beginning, I just started saying it. And I think I'm funny. And so to me, and that's all I was doing this for. I didn't, I just saw YouTube as, hey, this is a good place to like catalog all the things that I've seen. It wasn't really all about viewers or anything. And at first, I don't think people were accustomed to it. I got a lot of negative comments, which just totally deflated me, which is just ridiculous, because you should never even read the comments. Just do your own thing. Yeah. But my buddy Jay from O'Hare, who everybody probably knows, he's quite well known. He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He actually reached out to me and said, no, you should keep doing this, because this is funny and this hasn't really been done before. And so I have been doing it now for it's almost 10 years. It might even be 10 years that I've been just rambling out there. You know, I've been going to Hartsfield since, I don't know, maybe 07 or 06 on a habitual basis. But 2012 or so is when I started talking.
Yeah, it's beautifully reactive. If you've never seen Matt's videos, like, it's just, it's kind of what we all love, but with a nice sort of comedy twist and some sort of really funny observations that you'd never sort of pick up on usually.
Yeah,
it's a great watch on the back of it.
Exactly, man. That's what it's all about. It's just, I mean, think about if you're out there with like buddies. It's kind of the dialogue that you would be having with somebody who's right next to you. You know, another Reginald. Jesus, how many of these I mean, I could go on and on. You know, bitching about the stuff that you don't want to see because you're out there frustrated and it's hot and or it's cold. You know, it's uncomfortable. You're waiting for something specific. All the traffic that comes in before, it's boring. I mean, it's just griping about that kind of stuff. And of course, the excitement of actually landing the big catch. That's kind of what I'm talking about basically while I'm out.
Yeah, so you've had some big catches from the videos that sort of we've seen, and I will just sort of point out that we don't say this to kind of like just because you're on the show. I'm a massive, already, I'm a massive fan of your videos because I think every time I always tweet about it. Every time you put an announcement out that you've released one, I'm always straight on it. I'm always watching it because it just provides me with so much like humor because it is so funny. But you have these terms that you describe sort of types of aircraft, i.e. general aviation and things like that, which I think also get a lot of people. So we kind of want to just quickly go over those and just like sort of work out to maybe those that might not know why you mention them.
That's a good idea.
How you came up with the names of you know, for example, the first one that comes off the top of my head is the Random Act of General Aviation.
That's exactly what it is. A big airport like that is, you know, if you see a Piper or a Cessna, you know, something like that come in, you know, they had to fight through ATC to get there, and they had to pick a specific point where they're not jamming up the flow. And actually, I got to fly as a Random Act of General Aviation back in 2016. My buddy Tyler, the teenage pilot, of course, he's not a teenager now, but that's what I used to call him. He flew us in there, and it was the blast. But getting back to the nicknames, it's just stuff like, I'm trying to think of other ones. Like Sperm Wagon is one that's always just silly and ridiculous. It's just an all-white airplane. You know, it's just the first thing that springs to my mind. Let's see, what other ones are there? Because now that I have to think about it, I can't come up with them.
Yeah, you got obviously Tri-Holer is obvious, and you do it in such a bellowing way as well.
Is it Evil Spirit as well? Isn't it?
Evil Spirit.
Evil Spirit, yeah. Now, you guys might not know, like Spirit used to have the worst customer service record ever. I'll often refrain to them as Evil Spirit, not even trying to be mean, just talking about it. But they had a really bad customer service record because back in the day, in like, I don't know, 2012, 2013, 2014, their whole model people weren't used to, which was, okay, you can pay $25 on the website for a checked bag, but if you actually try to do that at the gate, they're going to charge you $100. And so that brought on all sorts of these customer service interactions where people were pissed. And that's kind of where I got the name from. Also, it seems like Spirit always has like a party in the back, like people with boom boxes. That's just what I envision. I've never actually flown on Spirit, but you see all sorts of antics of like passengers gone crazy or passengers drunk in Spirit aircraft. At least they used to. More recently, it seems like they've gotten their act together, but still, that's Evil Spirit.
Still,
reputation
once
stuck.
An evil spirit. Yeah, once an evil spirit, always an evil spirit.
Exactly. You got Sky Team. I mean, Sky Team is obvious too, but the thing I like to do with Sky Team, and along with Star Alliance One World, is just like, consider that to be some kind. Basically, it's Warsaw Pact, NATO, Sky Team versus Star Alliance. And one world is kind of like, I don't know, they're more. I like to refer to them as the Scientology of the airline industry. You subscribe to this one world ideology, and see how many places I can take this. Just when you're sitting there looking at it, and that's what springs to my mind is all these little tributaries that come off the original thought, and it goes into this weird place, and things stick. And I don't even mean for them to stick, but to me, it's just funny. I'm just really out there amusing myself. In a way.
And all of us, of course, in the process.
Yeah. That's the cool part is when I realized that people are actually amused by this as well.
How long would you say an average sort of chasing session lasts for?
Man, like recently, it's been a little bit short duration. Hartsfield, there's only so much to see out there, and when it starts getting hot or when the weather's bad. Or I get bored easy down there. It usually takes something to like spark a longer duration stint, like a go around at the beginning. I had one of those yesterday, and that kind of feeds me for a minute. You know, I'm able to, I can relax for the next couple of hours and see what happens. But if it's just the same old stuff from the get go, I'll go down there for 1 to 2 hours, usually 2 hours, but on more exciting occasions, I'll stay out there for as long as 6, 7.
Yeah. I know your bad weather one's one of your favorites, aren't they?
Yes. No, that's another thing. Like if there's storms in the forecast, I will go out there waiting for the storms because there's nothing better than actually having the front roll in and being able to see everybody scramble. Like that's really one of the most pleasurable things for me is to watch the interaction between weather and air traffic. Because it's contradictory. They have different goals. You know, the weather's going to do what it's going to do, and
absolutely
the planes have to figure out how to move to get around it. There's the funny thing is with just it's all about timing when you go out there because you can get emergencies. There's always something crazy that can happen when you're out there. I was thinking about this earlier today. Being out there gives you a greater chance of catching it than obviously if you're not. To me, there's no worse feeling. I have a buddy who's a tower controller down there, Scott, and anytime I'm at home and I get a text from him that says, "Are you down here?" I know I'm screwed. I know I just missed something, either an emergency, like it happened recently, an A321 blew a tire and skidded off the runway. And that was one in particular where he just texted me, "Are you here?" Didn't have to say anything else. I knew I should have been there.
Gutted.
Yeah, your dedication to standing out in the pouring rain, like Edinburgh and Atlanta. Like there was the one.
The wind and the rain in Edinburgh was unlike anything I've ever seen because it was so random. It would be sunny and then it's going to rain and like stinging rain. It hurts because it's being blown so hard. And then it's sunny again. And then an hour later, same thing. But that's what makes it fun, man. That's all a part of like watching what's going on in the air is obviously the weather.
Yeah, I think it was the Aer Lingus that came in and it was massively crabbing, wasn't it, into Edinburgh?
Oh yeah. And I know, man, the ATR 72, I used to fly. I was a flight attendant back in like 02 to 04. That's not a comfortable plane to be in the back of. The air conditioning packs always struggle to actually keep the plane cool, and fishtailing. Anytime, it's so funny how it happens. Like one person will vomit back there, and that's just this catalyst for this whole wave of the last 3 rows are getting sick. And boy, that's a whole nother story altogether.
Yeah, sounds a bit grim, that.
It's fun though if you expect it. Just don't take a novice flyer into the back of an ATR 72. You want to take a seasoned flyer who's not going to be worried about the turboprops.
Yeah. What is like the most extreme weather you've filmed in then? Like,
Oh, that's a good question. A tropical storm. What was it called? The tropical storm. It started with an I. It's in 2017. Oh man, it was like a Cat 4 hurricane, but by the time it got to Atlanta, it was a strong tropical storm. So it was sustained winds of like 40, 50 miles an hour, gusts to like 80 all day long. And man, I packed all sorts of food. I had this whole like thing. I was so excited to be out there for that. That's definitely the most extreme. I've been out there for a lot of severe thunderstorms too, and the very few snow or ice occasions. That doesn't happen too frequently down here. But
you start getting like diverts and go arounds, I suppose, at that point.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's all about: is the go arounds and watching. You'll see them; they're racing the storm, quite literally. You see them; they taxi out a lot faster when you look off to the west and you see this, black mass moving in, and they're trying to, rush to get in on final, which is always even more exciting because those guys are already airborne. It's a sure recipe for a go around. They'll get a microburst alert and have to escape. And boy, that just lights me up. That just makes me so excited.
Yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Brilliant. So in terms of, we said earlier about sort of the most sort of interesting sort of catches that you've had, what would you say have been the most interesting that you've seen come into Atlanta that have really sort of like shocked you and thought, wow, I didn't think I'd ever see that here, sort of thing?
Most recently, the president of South Korea showed up. And it was completely random too. My buddy Patrick the Houstonian, he lives down in Houston. He just happened to be there staying at the Renaissance Hotel, the world famous. And we were just kind of dicking around, looking at flight radar. And of course I had to check ADS-B, just always got to keep tabs on military stuff in the airspace. And there's a 747 coming down the arrival, on ADS-B that was not showing on FlightAware or Flight Radar 24, freaking South Korean Air Force One. And so we caught that landing, rushed back to the Renaissance, and we had this perfect view of the president of South Korea, his entire entourage, all getting back on the airplane. I mean, I could zoom right in on this guy. Of course, we didn't know who the president of South Korea was, so it was kind of hard to identify him. I think he's the guy who doesn't wear the mask. Everybody else had the mask on. But that was a mind blower. In recent memory, that's one, because that was totally unexpected. That was not anything that was scheduled, and it just popped in.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it must have been, because I remember, I think I saw something to do with, you may have posted a picture up on Twitter or something, and I sort of commented saying, we recently had that down here in the southwest of England for the they call it the G7 summit, obviously, and obviously Air Force One came over, and then we were finding out that the Koreans were coming in, and I managed to catch it, and then obviously you were like, oh, by the way, this is coming, and it's like, I caught that a few weeks ago. Like now it's over over where you are, and yeah, so it's so it was quite cool to see that, and especially to see, they've recently replaced the 747-400 with an 800 or Dash 8. I'll get ridiculed in the chat for that, but a Dash 8 now, which also came from Korean Air. So it's almost one of those ones where it's like, you're happy now you've got it, and because it's now sort of been replaced. So, yeah, definitely a rare sort of sighting. Like I say, it catches anybody off guard, and yeah, especially down here, we don't get 747s down here in the southwest of England. So to have Air Force One and the Koreans, and I think that was pretty much so 2 747s, but it made everyone's day just to be able to kind of see them. So. Yeah, so it was nice. It was a nice little shock to everybody to see 747s. Probably never see them again, but
yeah, they are getting rarer. Definitely getting rarer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. I was going to say, as a follow-up from that, is there anything you're yet to see but you really would like to visit you?
Oh man, there now I feel like it's taboo to say this, but the Russian equipment, like I've never seen an IL-76. That's one that has come into Hartsfield once or twice, and I just didn't make it for whatever reason. I don't think we'll be seeing any of the Antonovs anytime soon. The military stuff is what I would really love to see more of. There's so much military stuff. I don't think I've ever seen a Strike Eagle. No, I saw a Strike Eagle, like a Tornado we were talking about before we even started. That kind of stuff is really, that's like a drug to me, basically. Like going out to Hartsfield is a pastime. It gives a nice jolt of energy, but my God, if you compare that to fighter noise, military aircraft, holy shit, if I could bottle that and take it before work every day, it's just something that I don't know how it is. It's not easy to explain, but that's what I miss or want more of.
Are you planning on filming at any air shows at all this year? I know you did one last year or year before, and you had the F-35, didn't you? Now that was an experience, weren't it?
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was absolutely that. We got both F-35A and C on that in that event. I don't know what's going on in the air show circuit around here. I mean, if there's anything within driving distance, I'm going. If it has fighter jets, I've seen enough B-17s and P-51s in my day to pass on those kinds of smaller prop stuff air shows, but anything with military, I'm there.
Brilliant. I've just seen in the chat, Rob, where is it? There we go. Rob Brown. Rob Brown plane spotting says, "Evening, guys." Now,
it's not evening.
He is from Scotland. And I believe at some point on the show ages ago, I think, Ian, did you try a Scottish accent before?
I might have tried it. Can I just wish him happy birthday as well for yesterday, the day before?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Second that. Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah,
hope you had a good one.
Yesterday. Yeah. Now, as a little treat, I think it should be done now. I think now's the perfect time to do it. I think going off of the video, Matt, with your new catchphrase, I think if you like to grace Rob Brown with your Scottish accent as a little birthday treat to him.
All right, this isn't mine. Okay, this came from Mike Myers in Saturday Night Live from back in the 90s, but he would say, if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
He'll let us know how good that was.
I'd say it was on point. Great. Sounded good to me.
Yeah, it sounded good to me. That.
Fantastic.
I work on the accents. You guys know I struggle, and that's part of the fun. That's a whole nother side story. Just me freaking just screwing up the British accent.
Yeah, that's questionable, isn't
it? Every opportunity, I have to try it. I have to see if I can nail it.
There you go. Good effort, he says.
Right.
Good effort. Rob Brown says good effort. So that's obviously, that's pleased a lot of people. Obviously, you do the British accent for obviously like Virgin and British Airways coming in as well, which always gets me. It's like, right.
That's all I know. I can't.
It does make me laugh. Did that just sort of come onto you when you sort of see like a British Airways and Virgin, or just sort of any like British airline, and you just think,
yes, that's what kind of comes in my head, and then it becomes something where I've been doing this for long enough, and I've been doing it terribly that it's almost a joke that I'm gonna try, and it's gonna sound terrible, and that's what's funny about it.
Oh dear, honestly, it does make me laugh. If you haven't seen Matt's videos, do check them out on his channel. I think they just searched for your name, didn't they? If I'm correct.
Yeah. You just go to YouTube and just put in Matt Cochran, Cochran, and that should be the first thing that comes up.
Yeah, honestly, if you haven't watched them, do check them out, because I think you'll binge watch them because they're so funny. They are that good. Transatlantic Allison, who is a Virgin A330 pilot, it says can't be a posh accent for us. So do you want to try it?
I don't know what that means. Is that posh spice? Is that a Spice Girl question?
Oh, brilliant! Honestly, it's so good. It's funny watching it in the videos, but when you hear, if I hear you do it like in a chat, it's so funny, so funny. We're going to jump onto the bloopers that you have kindly suggested for us to.
Oh yeah, this is some funny stuff, and this dates back too. There's a lot of stuff in here. This is good.
A lot of stuff. So I'm just going to get rid of myself. Oh, sorry, not myself. I'm going to get rid of the logo at the top there. Keep everything else on top. So, I'll do it with this. I'll do it with the sound. Why not? So this was just obviously this is what you don't see in the videos in terms of everything in the background sort of thing. What sort of prompted you to get this out there? Was there demand, or was it a case of let's just show everybody, how crazy plane catching can be?
I've got like 10 years worth of material, and I think back to these certain occasions. I still remember them, and so I thought, why not just go clip my own videos and create like a clip show because this stuff is in the main video. Like this is not edited out because this is so funny, and I'm just basically turning everything into an adventure. I'm not afraid to make fun of myself. I'm out there and I'm a spaz. That's what you're not seeing behind the scenes. Me tripping over things, losing keys. I've lost so many GoPros at the airport. I can't even tell you. I've knocked a few off the wall and killed them. So I'm full of spastic activity, and whenever I can illustrate that, I think it's fun to do so.
Oh, brilliant! We'll play a couple. Play a few, and then we'll pause it and get some thoughts and everything else. So let's go into it.
Oh yeah, you're going around wherever you are. Oh, I'm getting battered. Oh, there's no way you make it. Oh God, no! Oh, this is hilarious, I'm sure. Oh God almighty.
Oh dear. That's what I was laughing at earlier.
That's 4-2. Gotta get back to our run! Where is he? Holy where is he? Oh my God! Holy crap! Go around! Please no!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why pre-flight checks are so critically important. Whenever you leave a place, particularly one like this, check your pockets. Check them twice. Because otherwise you might leave something important out here. Namely, my keys! And it's hot, it's so hot. I was in desperate need of food and was almost there until I realized what happened. Okay, I had to have been sitting like right here, right? Look at this shit. And for all those of you who've given me that goddamn ice bucket challenge, that's not a challenge. This represents a challenge. That was the hottest day of the year that year, and it was very quickly like 102 degrees. I couldn't find these damn keys. It's hilarious.
What it does, it shows your enthusiasm for what you do, which I think is what probably it's more that I think it's more the charming side of the sort of the what you do basically and how you present it, because it's so unique. And I think any one of us, myself, Steve, or Ian, could literally try and bring out an energy like you've got on your videos. And I don't think it would even be close to being replicated. I think there are other people that have tried it. It does not come close to being funny and just so energetic like yourself, because it's like it's engaging to watch. Like sometimes I will go through the comments and stuff, and I'll see people that will be like, "It's so fascinating," it's a breath of fresh air for like plane spotting and things like that. And and I sort of sit there and go, yeah, do you know what, it really is, because it's such good content. It's like really good content that you could just sit there and watch for hours upon hours upon hours and not get bored of it, because it's very different.
I think sometimes when you're watching them, I think sometimes when you're watching the actual planes come secondary, don't they?
Oh yeah,
you're actually watching what you do rather than watching what's going on.
And that's kind of that's the whole angle that, because there's a lot of really good plane spotters out there whose camera, I mean, their panning skills they're perfect. They line it up, you don't see anything. Like I'm all over the place. I'm a spaz, and that's part of the charm. I'm just out there being goofy. So I mean, I think there's room for everybody, but you got to have a break from just like the silent, perfect panning. Airplane lands, and then you might get some text, or subtitles showing like the flight number and whatnot. To me, there's more to it. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you can include.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so good. It's so good. And like I say, you've got like literally so many videos that you could go through. Like I plan on next potential day off, whenever it is, just binge watching the lot of it. And because it's so engaging, it's so funny. It's so good. And just the content's brilliant. And there's nobody else out there like it, which I think is even better.
There's a couple of people. There's a guy named Captain Steve Markovich down in Tampa who I think he mentioned me as like the genesis of it, not to take credit for it. But you also got, I mean, groundbreakers like Big Jet TV and those guys, like some of them, Big Jet TV will talk, right? I mean,
it's kind of factual rather than
in a live sort of thing.
Yeah, factual rather than the comedy slant on it. Yeah.
See, it's hard to do. Like, if I was to do live, I would not be funny at all because it's all about like the timing of everything that's said and, cutting it at the perfect place. There's a lot of stupid comments that just aren't funny that I'll make, and I'll edit those out. It's all the magic of editing. Yeah. I suddenly become a lot funnier than I really am because I know how to cut it.
Let's. I'd say we've got. I'm not play the entire video because otherwise, if people want to watch it themselves, they can. But we'll play a few little extra bits, and then we'll do some more chatting about each one of them.
300. If you're at 300, maybe that's my good omen. My spirit guide telling me to continue the search for the missing key. Not. It's like a tarot card that says you're doomed. Where in this grassy area are the keys to my motor vehicle? The human body can only take so much of this before it starts to break down and really starts to start organs, Uh-oh, setup suck. Damn, we don't need to not look at airplanes, we need to look at ground. Now look at airplanes, we need to look at ground. This is the challenge. Now, hey, sirens are coming. I wonder if they're coming after me. Are you going to help me find my case? Survivor Man says I need to immediately build a shelter, so if I'm not at home later, I'm going to be hiding in those woods, foraging for berries, and watching the occasional airplane. Oh my God, it's so hot. Oh God, it's so hot. The shade feels wonderful on my skin. Oh God. Okay, the shade will move around, so we have to always stay in it. Oh! Ah! My case! Ladies and gentlemen, I have just dodged the bullet and avoided certain death. Thank you very much. Well, that's accomplished. What's that? We can put that right next to my car. I don't think we put it anywhere. The men did. Passenger. Thanks for putting this next to my car. Thanks for parking right next to us. Dang, God damn it, I don't want to fight with this asshole. Fight the wind power. Build 83 heavy. Shut up, asshole! I just knocked my GoPro off the ledge. There we go. What have I done? The SD card came off of this thing, but Do you still work? No, you don't. Oh, no SD card. Good, GoPro, good. Time in history. Luckily, it fell on some grass. It didn't damage the car. Oh, it's still shooting. Oh, my GoPro.
God.
Presumably. There's just like a tornado. Look at this. Oh my god. Thank you, whoever owns this vehicle, the Lexus. Using this for cover.
Buy your digital railcard and tickets with Trainline. Unless you like complicated.
I like complicated.
We'll just pause that. I don't know if that was heard or not because I muted it by accident. Was it heard?
Was what heard? Me?
Was the sound heard from that video?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Right, that's fine. Well, that's fine. No problem then. So a couple incidents through that one, for the entirety of the whole thing. But yeah, so it gives you a real good insight into what happens behind the scenes. I know that one with the guy in the car was actually in one of your videos, wasn't it? Like an actual video.
Yeah, that's actually the Hurricane Irma, or the Tropical Storm Irma occasion that I mentioned, being the most extreme weather. There was this guy who basically, what had happened, it looked like one of the baggage carts, the things you roll your baggage out on, had blown next to his car, and he wanted to blame us for it.
Yeah.
And so he just wanted to pick a fight. It's funny.
Mental. I will just very quickly say Ian is going to have to leave us tonight to go do some cleanup on the pollution spill. So Ian, thank you. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Yeah,
you're all right, mate. Have a good week.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to see you again, Matt, and listen to you again. Brilliant. And I'll see you two guys next week. I'll have to disappear. I've got this thing I need to do. So yeah, I know.
No problem, Ian.
See you later.
You're right.
Bye
bye.
So is Ian going to scrub down ducks and like other mammals that have been affected by an oil spill? Because you keep mentioning that she's got to go clean up pollution. It just makes me think of like the Exxon Valdez, and he's got to go out and hose the ducks off, get all the oil off of them.
In the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, exactly.
No, but yeah. So I mean, we saw just then the scale of weather that obviously Atlanta will get in terms of like the extreme sort of rain and everything else like that. How hard is it to spot in that? And obviously you look ahead to the weather and stuff. And do you think I'll go for that because it makes a great video? Yeah.
Oh, I'm always looking at the forecast. I mean, I'll go down there. The thing about Atlanta, especially in the summertime and spring, we get the forecast might say 20% chance of storms. But in the afternoon, if you look out, you start seeing these cumulus boiling. I call them cumulus boils for a reason. That's exactly what they do. And they shoot up. And then you got yourself a severe thunderstorm that has it's kind of like Florida. So I'll run down there to catch that happening. So I make specific attempts to chase it. It's like storm chasing and plane chasing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to shoot in that stuff. And it usually, I can't tell you how many cameras I have broken. You're about to see one on this video is about to be the loss of the handy cam. I break so much stuff out there shooting in this stuff. That's why I usually don't buy that's why I don't operate with DSLR at all. I'll buy at most like a $500 camera. Today, in today's dollars, that's more like an $800 or $900 camera.
Yeah.
But something that's kind of disposable because it is so difficult. You can't get this equipment wet, but I sure as hell do. That's all part of the adventure.
Yeah, it looks brutal. We certainly don't get weather events like that in the UK. Very, very seldom. Anything even sort of over a 35 mile per hour wind class as a storm down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like a severe thunderstorm I think is kind of a unique to the United States type of event, like the late afternoon thunderstorms. It's everything that a growing boy needs. You got lightning, you got wind shear, you got hail, all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, quite incredible.
There's a couple of requests here from Rob Brown, who clearly loved your Scottish accent, so we want to try and get a couple more out of you.
Another one I had, oi.
The first one he's requested is, I won't say it, but
no, I can't do that.
From Austin Powers, if you want to give that a go.
My wife will leave me if she hears me in here doing that. The baby back ribs, I don't know if I could do it. I want my baby back ribs. See, that wasn't very good. I just did this. I just added a little rasp. Get in my belly. There we go. I can do that. I think if it's kind of comes to an abrupt ending, the word like that makes it easier. Like get in my belly. See, you're seeing the evolution of a new accent here.
Brilliant. Any other requests for any accents that? But no, that's fine. We'll get on to a little bit more of the bloopers, and then we'll go on to something else.
Oh, casualty! Oh, the handy cam is down. Oh no! Gotta drag him out of the line of fire.
Today's episode was brought to you by Handycam. Look at the post-battle damage. The battery right here was thrown off during the collision. And I believe I have a screen in the crack, or a crack in the screen. I can't tell because it's still wet. Our hearts are heavy, but our hearts are also warm.
Oh, nice!
Oh, man.
Oh, that's a strong-ass wind! Yeah! Oh, that's gotta go around. That's a DC-9! Holy you can't see it because the lens flatter. It's like a DC-9-10! Oh my god! Holy shit! Holy getting pelted! Is he making it? Oh, I don't know what DC-9 does. Yeah, 9er. Oh my god! Oh, I better move. I better go. Holy
Look at that.
Oh, let's get over here. Okay. Jesus Christ. Oh, I just got hit in the head. Oh, maybe it's unveiled.
That is big hail. That was
Damn, those stones are big.
Wow.
Flashes.
Ping pong.
Oh, fuck! That was right on top of me! Holy I feel static! Oh my god! Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that I backed into this yellow pole as I was attempting to move my car to the subterranean. This wound from the yellow pole. How many times have I dodged that? How many times have I made fun of someone who might run into it? And here I am, playing the role of the victim. Another rainbow for old Maddie. I am certainly becoming your rainbow king. You can bow down before me and all the rainbows I produce. If you would care to look at my damaged car, there you go. That's another takeaway from this afternoon. Collided right into this light. Oh, it looks like some guys with hats. Oh, they're like, what do we do? Look, dude. Oh, shit.
That guy's getting fired.
That guy is getting a drug test. Is he a Delta employee?
Oh, that's an awkward stance.
You see that guy? Yeah.
He's a little shook up.
Yeah, I would be too.
They're trying to figure out if they can get away with it right now or not. What's the logo?
Ready Jet? What is that?
Ready Jet, huh?
That's a contractor of some kind.
Oh, crap.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm not going to play it all, but literally just go find it on Matt's channel and just give it a watch because it is absolutely brilliant. Like really, really good to watch. It will just it'll leave you tickled.
And did you find out if they did ever get away with pranging the light there?
That was from my bachelor party. It's funny I remember anything from that. My bachelor party out at the Renaissance Hotel, and just me and a couple of my friends, we just stayed out there on the balcony all night. That probably happened at 1:00 in the morning. So I was toast at that point. And you can find that video actually. It unravels. It's a lot of fun.
We won't spoil it for everybody, but go find it on the channel. The lightning strike is what I asked you. I asked you about it earlier, and we spoke about it on the previous episode and stuff. Just how close was it to you? Because that looked literally like it was straight on top.
I don't know. Like it was the weirdest. It's definitely the closest I've ever come to lightning. I never even saw the bolt or the flash. I felt this hum inside of me, if that makes sense. Like this hum. I had just enough time to say, what the? And then is when you hear the actual crash of the thunder, which was a split second after the lightning. I mean, I think that what happened was it hit one of the lampposts. Like, there's lampposts here, lampposts there on that parking deck. So I think it probably hit one of those lampposts within close proximity to me. I've never felt anything like that. And I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I mean, that taught me really I don't need to die. That won't make a good video. Video's still running. Oh, that would suck.
Is there any airports in America and in the wider world that you've not been to that you'd love to go and make a video at?
Yeah, I mean, things like London, like Heathrow. I want to see all that stuff. Paris, your standard Paris, Amsterdam, all of the Western ones. Of course, Haneda, Narita. I mean, I can't even imagine. My mind probably wouldn't be able to comprehend being in like an Asian airport. It would probably explode just from total overstimulation and things I can't see. All their characters. It just, I'd love to do any of that. Closer to home, like there's a lot of Air Force bases nearby that I need to get out there and pursue. I mean, Pensacola, the home of the Blue Angels, is like an 8-hour drive for me. So there's things closer to home that I want to see. Boston would be something else that comes to mind as an airport that I want to spot at, because it's kind of like the East Coast version of San Francisco. The airport layout or the runway layout is very similar. They're both on the water. It's just an interesting duality.
Yeah, it sounds good. Like, Heathrow, obviously, we know it well, is a phenomenal airport, especially sort of pre all this business in the world. And that used to get a landing every 2 minutes, whatever it was, and it was constant. You could see them stacking for miles coming into Heathrow. Yeah. It's not quite as good as that these days, but it's phenomenal to go there.
It's not Atlanta busy, but it's busy.
Yeah.
But a little bit different. What we'll do for the last sort of, what we got on here, about an hour in, for the last sort of half hour, we'll take some questions from anybody that's got them. I know the standard questions are going to come in, so we'll ask them anyway. We'll go with your favorite aircraft, Matt.
There's a lot of categories of aircraft, like military. There's kind of that. I'll just give you F-14 for the military, of course. 727 for civilian.
Yeah, it's a really, really good shout, especially the F-14 as well. Like a lot of people, I think, go for now, like modern day fighter jets and stuff. But the F-14 is a really good shout. Why the F-14 for out of any?
I mean, of course, in this weekend, it's extra important that we mention Top Gun at least. But I loved airplanes before Top Gun came out, but Top Gun just shows you how sexy the F-14 is. Not that I want to have sex with the F-14, but it's just, and if you've seen it in person, it's just such a perfect looking airplane. The F-4 is almost like that as well. It's almost perfect looking, like mean looking, aggressive looking, ready to do, it's just, they look fantastic. And and F-14 is just so iconic. It's such a unique airplane. You got a Rio. It's all about the Phoenix missile, fleet defense, but they managed to turn it into a really stable bomb dropping platform in the latter phase of its life. So it got a whole new lease on life. It's F-14 is just one of those. It's like a tornado. I'd put the tornado there in that exact same category. You don't realize what you've got till it's gone. That's what it's all about.
It is, yeah, it is. I don't think I've seen the F-14 much, if I'm honest, apart from obviously, like I say, like films and TV documentaries and things like that. So, yeah, it is one of those ones that you kind of, I think for me at least, kind of wish I saw it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Got a question here from hold on. Can't pronounce the name, but we'll go over it anyway. Why don't you post on TikTok? Is what's being asked.
Oh God, TikTok is a Chinese spy app, man. I don't want to let the Chinese know what's going on, and I honestly, I'm too old for more social media. Like, I have a hard enough time keeping up with Twitter. I don't keep up with Instagram. I basically do what Joe Rogan calls post and ghost. Just post it because I spent so much time looking at comments and trying to reply to everybody. And I have a full-time job that involves a lot of email, very similar ways to communicate. So the last thing I want to do when I get off work is get back and do that. And I'm just too old, man, with the TikTok. I think I've aged out. I'm 43 now. I don't really understand it. It's scary and foreign to me, just like it will be to you. When you get older.
That's it. I was going to ask you, do you have a current favorite and retro livery?
Oh God, there's been some good ones that have doesn't Qatar has a really sweet one. The retro fad is really fantastic. I love that even carriers like Cargo Lux are getting into that. Lufthansa has that really good one. Like, I think it's on an A321, right?
Oh yeah.
The Lufthansa one. Of course, I like the ones American does with the Reno Air, and TWA is really neat. That's a good one to see. One that I actually have a chance to see. There's a lot of cool stuff overseas too.
Yeah, Tom will know it boils me something rotten that American Airlines got rid of the old chrome livery.
Oh yeah, boy, I was a very vocal opponent of that. I've kind of, their new livery's okay, but it's not the bare metal, man. God, you don't even have to paint. You think you want to save some money?
Yeah,
bare metal.
It's
or keep it in the green.
Yeah, it devastates me. I probably rant about that at least once every month on this show, but they did that to us.
There's no airline out there that does that anymore, right? Like, I can't think of a single airline that has any bare metal in their livery.
I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't think there is.
Jet2 tried to copy it, don't they? In a sense, but it's nowhere close.
It's not quite. Yeah, it's not quite bare metal, but yeah, it's.
Aeromexico had a little, like, they had one back in like 2013.
Did have the bare metal. Yeah. But yeah, not anymore. I don't think there's anybody.
No.
Yeah,
I think planes nowadays are all made out of different materials, so I don't think.
Yeah, that's a good point. It might not come out looking like bare metal. It might look like a patchwork of different greens and yellows because of all the
bare carbon fiber or something.
Yeah. Bare carbon fiber. We need that. That's actually a great idea.
American retro. There you go. Bare carbon fiber.
Yeah, nice.
Brilliant. Peter is asking, what's your opinion on the evil spirit takeover Frontier?
It sounds bad to me because it just means less diversity. We've already had enough of this, of the condensation, if you will, of airlines, with American getting US Air. They all seem to gobble one another up. And that's just, we already are suffering from lack of aircraft diversity because everything's gone to just, twin engine wing-mounted, just bijets. And so I don't know. Now, the one thing that is fascinating about Spirit and Frontier, what are they going to do? Are they just going to do kind of like the United and Continental thing? Who's going to kill the animal is the moral of the story. Frontier has animals on their tail, and they've given these animals very important names. And so is Evil Spirit, going to come in and kill all of these animals? That's what we need to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it will add a whole new level of Evil Spirit. You see, that's what I...
They'll have children crying and everything next.
But yeah, it's one of those ones where you, like you mentioned, like the diversity side of it, like when Continental got gobbled up by United and then kept part of, or if not all of, Continental's identity. Even now, even now, still keeping the identity, but sort of having their own twist on it. It's US Airways was one that was quite popular, at least for me. It was quite popular when they came to Heathrow and things like that, and then to find out that they'd gone and they were all like gobbled up. And Northwest is another one.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
Northwest being gobbled up by Delta, of course, which I suppose in a way added diversity to their fleet. I mean, I'm purely speaking of I suppose for hometown airport.
Oh my God!
And like
Absolutely.
Heathrow as well. Heathrow would get a mix of 767s and A330s and that. And I suppose, especially for like the American spotters, I think to have all these like 320s and 319s and everything all from like one airline, I think it's a bit like what Steve, me and Steve are pretty much used to, where you see all these EasyJet aircraft and you tend to kind of just let them go. You don't catch them with like a picture or catch them on film because you're so used to it. You just let it go. So it's kind of like for you guys over there, it's like, oh, that's another. I don't know, let's say Frontier wins it and they're all covered in Frontier. Yes, the animals are on the tail, but it's like Frontier,
yeah,
or Spirit. So it gets a bit monotonous as well. So I think that's kind of where like aviation is going nowadays, is that everybody wants a piece of everyone, and it's like we'll try and minimalize the variety of what there once was.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine having a time machine and being able to go back to like 1985 or earlier and go spotting. It just, that's one of those things where that you will never get that back. No. It's gone, man. Like going back to seeing, tri-jets, early 757, 737, and it all was so loud back then, which made it so much more fun. Yeah. Nowadays, hush kits are, there's are fighting words, I tell you what. Screw that, like you guys could have had the Trident. Imagine that. Imagine going back and seeing the Trident.
No, God, yeah.
Supposed to be louder than hell.
Yeah, Trident VC10s, BAC 111s, right back in the noisy era. And unfortunately now we're in the plastic carbon fiber era, and that's kind of how it's
got quieter
for a long time, I think. And it's a bit of a shame, really. Transatlantic Allison is asking, best airline you have flown on and the worst.
Oh, yeah, man. The Virgin, this most recent experience with Virgin just blew it out. It was so awesome. It was so great. It's so different from Delta, which is usually what I'm pretty much have to fly on. And I don't know if it was just because the light, I don't know, 'cause different things can play tricks on your mind, like just the lighting, the color of the seats, the fabric on the seats, whatever it was. Virgin felt so cozy to me, and they were so nice, and everything was just very uplifting and fun. Virgin, that was definitely the best. Worst would probably be American. American has botched the job a few times recently. Getting out to get married in California, they screwed the pooch, and which to me, we basically missed our connecting flight in Dallas, which was good news to me, but bad news to the wife, because I'm totally down to hang out at DFW and ride their sky trains for several hours. My wife, not so much. And so when you have It's always a struggle when you have like, you're just so excited, but your wife is so pissed, and it couldn't be more opposite. You got to find a way to navigate that, because if you show that you're having too much fun, that does not help her mood. That makes her mad at you. So you have to kind of tone it down. That's a whole nother story.
You'd be delighted to hear you. You'd be delighted to hear you definitely dropped the correct answer on the best airline ever to transatlantic Allison there anyway.
Really? Is transatlantic Allison affiliated with Virgin?
She flies a 330, yeah.
Oh man, I wonder if she flew Golden Girl. That's who I was. Well, that's who I was on. See, listen to me. I act like they're actual people.
Oh dear me, she'll probably tell us. I think she's sort of based sort of more southern than that, I think. But you never know.
Yeah. My flight was Virgin 226 out of Orlando to Edinburgh. I don't think there were any ladies in the cockpit. I didn't hear any of them. I listened intently because I love the accents.
There you go. She's flown the aircraft many times, but not that particular one, I think, would be the answer to that.
Yeah.
On your journey.
Yeah, so not on your journey to Edinburgh.
Well, that's okay. Her company is fantastic.
There you go, then.
High praise. We have got another question in. I've just lost it. There we go. Again, I'm not going to pronounce it. AO Stud, I think.
Middle Eastern carriers. Yeah,
Middle Eastern carriers. What's your view?
I fully support them and will die for their right to be Middle Eastern carriers. I love them.
I don't think you can get a better answer than that.
Yeah, man. I say bring it. Man. And that's one thing. When I think about London, when I think about Heathrow, I'm sorry, I'm just plugging in my phone. When I came overseas in the 90s, when we went to Spain, we connected at Heathrow, and I saw Kuwait Airways, and that just blew my mind that there's Kuwait Airways. So dating back to, the 90s, I was in love with Middle Eastern carriers.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's definitely got the approval of Alison. She said, no, not done the Edinburgh Yan yet, but top answer, I'll buy you a drink next time I'm in town.
Right. Tell her to come to Atlanta.
Buy you a drink. Right.
There you go.
Lovely job.
You'll be sitting in business class before you know it.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Or jump seat, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that right there is another thing where my brain would probably melt just from being so excited.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal that would be.
Brilliant stuff. If anyone else has got any more questions to ask Matt before we let him go this evening, do get them in. We are going to probably wrap the show up very, very soon. So in terms of, just very quickly while we wait for some to come in, future sort of plane chasing plans, do you plan on sticking to Atlanta for the time being and sort of seeing what happens, or have you got any trips planned?
No trips are planned. I need another trip because coming back from Scotland has been so depressing. So I need to put something else on the horizon in pretty short order just for morale purposes, but I don't really know what that's going to be. So for at least the next few months, it's going to be a Hartsfield show. Unless an air show pops up or something like that. It's really going to be weather dependent, because when Hartsfield gets boring, weather will spice it up. You can't just depend on air traffic, So if we start getting good storms, I'll be out there a lot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, let's just briefly touch upon, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, which looks like probably the world's greatest hotel for plane spotting. Just how good a view is it? Because obviously you can watch it through a camera lens and it will look sort of slightly distant and stuff, but how good is it?
It's basically like they designed it around plane spotting. Like, of course, you have to make sure you don't get one of the rooms that's not facing the runway. That could be a rookie mistake, and you could find yourself looking in the wrong direction. But the side facing the runway, they've got balconies and patios, and it is video pictures. They don't do it justice. When you walk into that hotel room and you pull the blinds back and you see what it's like stadium seating for the airport. Yeah. Your own personal, like, it's fantastic.
I was going to say, in the main, in the US, is people photographing, like, in airports, aviation, is it sort of tolerated, encouraged? Because sadly over here, it's not exactly sort of encouraged massively, with the exception of a couple of places.
I think that it has gotten a lot. It used to be pretty hazardous, like back in 2009, 2010. Like, think about the underwear bomber when, the terrorism code red days were still out there. So that was not easy. But now I think the whole see something, say something culture introduced, at least I know it did around here in Atlanta, it introduced the cops to plane spotters in a very roundabout way. Somebody will call the police because they see somebody with a camera taking pictures of the airplanes. That means a cop is going to go out there and encounter that person. And the more that happens, and the more that it did happen, the more the cops knew what this phenomena was of a person with the camera by the airport. And now they just drive right by.
Yeah.
I've been to some places like JFK was particularly difficult just because they didn't want you screwing around on their parking decks. And it was really a hit and run type of event. Now, this was back in 2015 or 2016. Things changed very rapidly in the plane spotting world, But I think that it's, on the whole, pretty friendly here.
Yeah, I'd say, I think Tom might agree. It's sort of tolerated, isn't it? Especially at somewhere like Heathrow.
It has been over the last few years. Police will have a chat with you, but not in a case of what are you doing. It's more like they're just interested, and then sometimes they'll stand and watch with you. They'll stand and watch.
That's a really cool thing that I've had the pleasure of enjoying as well. Or they're just curious and they might even dig it too. And so, never approach anything like that as an adversarial encounter. The cops might just want to hang out. So when you see the cops coming, don't always go, oh no. You might be about to make yourself a new friend.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
I think it's better now than what it has been, I think.
Yeah.
So it's nice that it's kind of getting the support, really, that it kind of needs. You got some people that are harmless, and, like I said, because of everything that's happened, it's kind of heightened that sort of, alert for somebody with a camera. But I think police nowadays, in that sort of sense, have got a bit more common sense to them to not just take a camera off somebody just because they're taking a picture of
I think
else. So
Alison makes a good point, isn't it? A lot of the police now actually use spotters to be their eyes and ears almost.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's like a voluntary place in keeping everybody safe as well. So they'll always say, I know I've had it a few times, even years ago, going back when I was living near Heathrow, where they'd be like, if you do spot anything, just let us know. So you have to then keep an eye out as well. So it's almost like the more eyes that are on it, the safer pretty much everything becomes. And you're not pressured then into kind of being like, I've got the camera, police cars coming, put it away quick, sort of thing. So it's quite nice. Quite nice.
Maybe don't film the cop approaching you. Like, they might be a little bit sensitive to you filming them. I'm just being silly now because everything that goes on in this country, people filming cops doing bad stuff. So if you want to start that relationship off on the right foot, don't point your camera at the cop. It'd probably be a lot nicer.
Yeah. No, that's it. Absolutely. So
wonderful. A couple questions, and then we'll start to wrap the show up. Transatlantic Alison's asking, in regards to the hotels and that, can you see the southern runways from the hotel? Because it feels like a long way.
That is the one the one problem with it is that you are restricted to the north side is really all you can see. I mean, you can see the southern runways, but it's way out there, and a lot of heat haze and everything is if you try to zoom out there. So that's the one problem. There's not a hotel for the south side. They need one, but not yet.
Yeah, it's a shame. Do you think one will ever turn up for the south side?
I hope so. They recently detonated or demolished this hotel that was sitting in between runway 9 or right and runway 10. And I actually got that last summer, the demolition. The building came down, they blew it up.
Wow.
I don't know if they're putting a new hotel there, but if they did, it would be fantastic.
Are the runways allocated by sort of where they're going in terms of, like you say, like I've seen in a couple of your videos that you've taken from that place, a lot of like Korean Air. That's another catchphrase, by the way. Korean Air. I just thought of that. Korean Air, sort of going off on the south side and things like that. Like, is that on purpose, or is it just because of the type of aircraft that they're using?
It's the runway 9 or left or 27 right. It's the longest runway on the field, and I don't know the name of the departure, but most of the transatlantic stuff is going to go south. Pretty much all of your stuff that's going to Asia is also going to go off the south side. There have been exceptions like, runway construction, taxiway construction. They can go north just fine, but they all tend to go south. Landing is always a toss-up. They could land on either side, but departures, it's really a south side game for the international heavy flights.
Yeah, I see, because it must be quite frustrating when you're sort of after a particular airline. It could be anyone like a Korean Air or anything like, transatlantic cargo or anything like that. And it's over the other side where you can barely see it, and you must sort of be quite gutted, really, that obviously you get like your standard like Deltas, and I think Air France used the north side as well, didn't they? As well, so you get some of them, but it must be quite frustrating when you kind of want like the A380s and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to make a trip to Atlanta, spend some time at the hotel, but also you could just take an airport shuttle. It'll drop you off right at the South Terminal parking deck, and you can walk right there. You want to carve out time to specifically dedicate to that south side.
Yeah.
That sounds good if that's where all the big stuff's going from.
Exactly. And, if they're using the, E-stops, which is, using runway 9 or left for departure, 9 or right for arrival, you can throw a rock and hit these airplanes. They're right freaking there, very, very close to you.
Yeah, not that we're sort of pushing to do that.
Yeah.
No,
don't throw rocks at planes, for crying out loud.
We don't condone such behaviour.
It's a stone's throw.
Yeah.
We should rethink that whole thing.
Yeah, still, don't throw stones at planes. It's not good. Not good. No, wonderful. Let's have a look here. We'll get one more from Hiding Your APUs, Jack Rolls. He loves a good APU. He's asking if you've got a preference to a decent spotting camcorder, and what sort of camera do you use?
So since I'm not doing DSLR stuff and I mainly focus on video, I get basically it's a pure digital camera. An example would be the Nikon P950, which is what I'm shooting with right now. You don't have to change lenses on it or anything like that, and it's got an extraordinarily long zoom. There's also a Nikon P500. Anything like that is what I'm going to be looking for, because I don't need to be changing out lenses. That wouldn't work with my operation, and they're relatively cheap compared to DSLRs. Not cheap, at half the price. So that's what I use, and that's what I prefer. Just something like a straight digital. I can't remember what they call it. there's another word for it. I can't remember what it is. I won't come up with it.
It will. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll. Yeah, I'm sure it'll come up. I'm sure.
That'll be very helpful. I know Jack's in the market for a new one. That's why he's asking. He's doing a little bit of market research there to see what's what. We see.
Yeah, he's literally asking everybody and their dog what camera to use.
Yeah,
I think I've had about 5 messages going, "What's the best camera?" I'm like, "Mate, just have a look." I've got one you can buy. Like I've literally told him that. He said nothing. So
there you go.
yes, never mind at all. I'm just in the process of seeing as we spoke about. I'll tell you what. Let's go for this one. This is a good question. AO Stud says, "Why do you hate the Delta thank you plane? For the record, the thank you plane is made up of all the employees' names. So go on, explain yourself."
It's a funny joke because right when they came out with thank you was right when the pandemic started and right when they started laying people off and cutting flights. So it's thank you, and this is dedicated to all of our employees and customers. And it just so happened to coincide with them laying everybody off and shutting flights down and more or less being mask bullies. And so that is the origin of the joke. I don't ever really hate these things. That's something never, just because I say I hate it or I act aggressive to it, it's just a part of the shtick. I don't really hate thank you. I just think it's fun to make fun of.
There you go. There's your answer. Also, just got a nice little image from Transatlantic Allison, which I'm going to pop on the screen now, which I think is quite interesting.
That's the departure
blowing
off
up.
the
I shall blow it up a little bit more. This is the Atlanta departure.
Yep, Arnav to Pickett is one I always like to reference, as in pick your nose.
Oh dear.
Let's see if we can find Pickett on here. I can't see those words. I wonder if Pickett's on there. It would be one of those Arnavs coming off on the east side. Arnav to Litus. There's Arnav to. Okay, yeah, it's not there.
It's not there, no. But the reason why I have that image is because as we were talking about sort of the departures or just in general, she makes a point of saying that there's a normal, I think it's this one here.
Oh, yeah.
Or this one exactly. Here. Yeah, that's quite normal for heading out to the northeast in the ocean.
Yep. You'll see even flights that are going to New York or Boston use the south side, which can be confusing to people who are chasing that because you think, oh, that's going to the north. It's going to go off the north side. But it'll use that same departure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's seeing these little like charts and stuff, especially provided by Alison, is wonderful. So it gives you a real good insight. But yeah,
you want to know it's even more fascinating. The story behind these waypoint names. That's something to ask a pilot or a local air traffic controller because there's always really good stories as to how the names of the waypoints came about.
I'd love to know what that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to do some bit of research, I think. But yes. Tell you what, hang on a sec. Just talk amongst yourselves. That's become a new favorite. Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't have anything to say. Happy Jubilee!
You need to be waving your flag and singing "God Save the Queen" if you can bring yourself to do it.
In the best English accent, "God Save the Queen."
Right.
Brilliant.
There's a definite kind of thing of being slightly more relieved of having a few days off work as well as celebrating the Queen, obviously. But I think it'd be a celebration of having a couple of days off.
Absolutely, that always sweetens the deal.
Yeah, I think for me it's just the fact that I get 2 extra days of drinking, but just personal preference. Right, the whole reason why we're sort of doing the whole hang on thing is Matt requested it,
What did I do?
And very politely and wonderfully, as I knew she would, Alison has provided us with highlighted.
Ornamental ticket.
There it is.
That's my favorite. Yep.
There she is.
Yes, always on hand. So yeah, there is a Pickett.
That's my favorite one.
Thank you very much, Alison, for that.
Thanks, Allison.
Brilliant stuff.
Continuing that Virgin Atlantic charm.
That's it. In the way only Alison can. Thank you very much.
We'll have to name an aircraft after her. I'll find an A350 1000 out there and just scratch the name off.
Yeah, I'm sure if we get hold of Airbus, I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple of felt tip pens and just handwrite them on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Crayola.
No, brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, so we are now sort of coming to the conclusion of tonight's show. I'd like to thank everybody who has watched this evening. It's been a lot of fun, definitely a lot of giggles. If you haven't, like I said, if you haven't subscribed to Matt on YouTube, do so, because it'll be the best damn thing you ever do. So yeah, absolutely worth checking his content out. But yes, for now, we are going to do, and I think we did this when Matt was on last time, do some shout outs to some people, family, friends, loved ones, etc. I'll tell you what, we're going to put Steve on the spot this time and go first. So we're going to break the mold a little bit. Normally we go guests first. We're going to break it up a little bit and go Steve for the first shout outs.
Yep, lovely. Well, first of all, obviously, Matt, thanks for coming on. Thanks for making your videos and also doing it in such a way that it kind of lightens the mood as well. They're fantastic, and keep doing what you're doing and putting a smile on people's faces, because it's a rare thing these days. So well on you.
Thank you so much.
I've just oh god, the requests are coming in just for one last sort of Scottish accent from Rob Brown, of course, saying, can we get a Freedom Mel Gibson style from Braveheart?
I live in an apartment. If I did that at full volume, they would call the police. I can't do it. I wouldn't do it justice if I wasn't outside screaming. I'll upset the neighbors.
The worst thing is I've just imagined that going outside, like smacking the doors open, going, freedom!
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, that's right. Maybe next time we'll do that. But I've also forgot to mention, if anybody has any shout outs for anybody else, put them into the chat and we'll show them as we do ours. Right, Matt, over to you for some shout outs.
I'd like to thank my wife for tolerating me. I did not come prepared for shout outs. We'll do my buddy Mikey, Sky's the Limit, who's down at the Renaissance right now waiting for me. Tom, the other Tom, who's named after Tom York, Thom Patterson. My good buddy Julian, Patrick, the Houstonian, Jay from O'Hare, Transatlantic Allison, and then you two handsome devils.
I made all the effort tonight and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been a great air traffic controller, because that's kind of what you're doing there.
Oh, I'll take
managing the time and the videos and all of that.
Yeah, I can't guarantee I'll do a great job, but I've got such a forgetful mind. It's like, what was it you said? What did you say? Oh yeah, no, forget it. Someone else is trying to talk to me now. No, forget it. You've missed your opportunity to depart. It's fine. Oh dear.
I'll be in Starbucks eating the donuts.
I'm going to bring this one up because I know that Ken's done this from Visions International, saying a shout out to Real Madrid. Now, anybody that doesn't know, it was the Champions League final last night for football, and they played Liverpool and Real Madrid won. And if you haven't seen it, Ken has posted a video where he's dancing to the fact that Liverpool lost. I was quite happy that Liverpool lost. I don't like Liverpool in any way, shape or form. So I was quite happy as well, but I did not dance in the way that Ken did. So you haven't seen that. Well worth checking that out on Facebook if you've got Ken as a friend. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, so I'll bring that one up because, Real Madrid won, and I couldn't be more happy, because if Liverpool win anything, God help us all, we'd never hear the end of it. So yeah, that's one for the football fans and soccer fans.
It's
and
pronounced Real Madrid.
Yeah,
Real.
it's not pronounced Real. It's real. Yeah, get lost. But yeah, Jack Rolls has very kindly put a super chat in for us to say, Tom, Steve, and Ian and Matt, thank you for tonight. Love you guys so much, and never buy a cat. It's flipping shredded my curtains.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Well, there you go.
Yes, maybe we shouldn't just let stray ones inside, Jack. Maybe that might be a good shout. Wonderful. Right, I'll do some shout outs as always. I'd like to give a shout out to Steve, doing a wonderful job, of course, as always. Matt, always, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, always an absolute pleasure to chat to you, whether it's for like 5 minutes or on a show, because you're just, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people, in terms of what you do, just an absolute legend. So yeah, thank you, of course.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are my cousins overseas. You're my British cousins.
British cousins. If this doesn't go in the end of year like highlights, I think this has to go in the entire episode. It'll go in the end of show highlights. And we'll get Matt back for it as well. Happy New Year, Britons.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Jolly good show, boys. Well done.
Yeah. Cracking show, lads.
And then the Scottish just go, aye.
Yeah.
That's how they say yes.
Oh my goodness me. It's been very enjoyable having you on, and like I say, you're more than welcome to join us at any point again, at any stage. Like, definitely, like, first on the list for coming on the show.
Man, you got it. You just say the word.
Next week? No. But no, fantastic stuff as always. Everyone watching, of course, a big shout out to you guys. Shout out to Jack, of course, for the super chat, much appreciated. And of course, frontline workers, etc., as we all know, are going through difficult times. Of course, Transatlantic Alison as well. Always got to give her a shout out for being such a legend as well, I suppose. Just providing us with some really good info, and just wonderful. Just really, really all round, just wonderful person. So
she's an aviatrix.
Absolutely
aviatrix.
One
word.
Notch. Wonderful. Before we go, if you want to follow Matt on Twitter and keep up to date with any announcements for new videos, I believe I've got that right, because I did check my phone.
Yeah.
Do follow him on Twitter as well, like I said, to keep up to date with him. And if you fancy following me on Instagram, even though he doesn't keep up to date with it, you can follow him on Insta on Hartsfield_Matt. I believe Jack Rolls. Where is it? There we go. Jack Rolls has said that he's added you on Instagram, so that's one more person than you had. So good stuff.
Perfect.
I probably wouldn't follow him back either, but
there's a liability.
It's a liability
after this.
No, Jack's all right, really. I'll give a shout out to MaxJet TV Live as well. He's asked for a shout out, so I'll give him one as well. Wonderful. Next week, we'll decide what we're doing next week. Throughout the week, we've not really sort of had a thought. We're going to try and bring something a little bit different for you guys. So we'll let you know in the meantime. So you can follow us on our social medias, which I'll bring up shortly. In fact, no, do you know what? I'll do that now. So if you want to know what we're doing next week, you can follow us on Twitter. You can also find us on our Facebook page. And of course, if you'd like to see some photos that I've got of the past and the present, I post them onto Instagram. Like I said, we have a Facebook group as well. So if you want to join the community that we have in people sharing their photos of what they've caught, do search for the Departure Lounge Community channel on Facebook, and we'll get you accepted into that group. If you want to follow Steve on Instagram, you can. Always worth a good shout. It's got some cracking photos on there. And of course, not forgetting main man Ian, who I'm again forgetting to shout out, but we'll shout him out anyway to Ian for doing his pollution cleanup. You can find him on Instagram as well. Cracking stuff. So, let's top notch. So we will end the show now. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week, but we are going to say goodbye individually. So I kind of want Matt to listen to you say your goodbye, but I know he will if I take him off screen. So I'm just thinking what the best. I'll tell you what. Matt will hear you, so it's fine. So Matt, we'll let you say goodbye to the people that are still watching.
Goodbye, people that are still watching. You're beautiful. I love you.
Wonderful. No doubt we'll see you on the show again at some point.
Thanks,
take care. Now, of course, don't go anywhere. We'll have a chat afterwards, but don't go anywhere. Now, in the most Steve way possible, Steve, if you'd like to give a shout out, if you'd like to say goodbye to people, it's that time of day. If you'd like to give a shout out to people that are still watching, did I say shout again? Say goodbye to them.
Yep, shout out goodbye, people who are watching and that. Right, all right, cheerio, my lovelies. Stay safe, stay sexy, and until next week, God save the Queen. All right, cheerio now.
Brilliant. And for me, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week, 7:30 p.m. for another episode of the show, episode 64. Let us know if you want to see anything in particular. If not, we'll come to you with something, I'm sure. But for now, take it easy. Have a fantastic short week if you're having one. God save the Queen and all that. Happy Jubilee. See you next week. Bye-bye.